name is Projeni Pather, and I'm the chair of AXO, the Association of African Exhibition Organizers. Thank you for listening in on our Agile Leadership series. At AXO, we're grateful for the great leadership within our industry. And in our efforts to learn, inspire, and lead the way, we will be interviewing many of the leaders in our industry that have so much to share. So today, I'm joined by Scott Langley, Marketing, Sales and Events Director at the Durban International Convention Center, where he oversees all the aspects of the brand, reputation, marketing, and sales performance of the organization. He has a natural passion for reputation management and public relations, and his work with the Durban ICC has seen them go on to win both national and international awards in various marketing, sales programs within the tourism industry. Scott, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me, Projeni.
Scott, I know it's been a really, really busy 3 months, and I think everybody's been all over the place. But if you have to think back on these 3 months, what has been your biggest challenge as the Durban ICC?
Yes, well, the COVID outbreak really has had a catastrophic effect on business events industry, and Durban ICC has really not been exempt from that. We've been directly impacted as a result. You know, when we were confronted with the outbreak and gatherings started being restricted in size and clients started postponing their events, and eventually the lockdown was announced, we were faced with the prospect of having no income at all at the Durban ICC. And so our greatest challenge was really figuring out how we were going to survive as a business in the total absence of events. And we were trying to safeguard, obviously, the jobs of our people until things could get back to normal, and trying to devise a plan how we were really going to survive the outbreak and really the cancellation of all our events and business as we knew it. That was our number one challenge.
Absolutely. Now, if you think back on these past few months, I mean, it just hit us, right? And you hit with these problems, and if you have to throw yourself and immerse yourself into them to try and fix it and figure out, as a venue that just sees thousands of people and hosts thousands of events annually, and trying to figure out what do you do with this big empty space. You work really closely with your teams, I think, and you get to learn so much about each other. What is something, do you think, that you and the ICC are so proud of over the past 3 months, that something that you've been able to achieve as an organization?
I'm really most proud of the fact that, when our core business hit a roadblock, we didn't just sit down and accept that this was going to be our lot in life. We recognized that this was a difficulty being faced by ourselves and by our clients and by our communities. And our team just went into overdrive to find the opportunity in the difficulty. And alternate uses were found for the center, and we developed new ways of doing business. And since that time, we've been focusing on the development of our high-tech virtual event solutions. We've reinvented the way we do events. We've invested in our online event technology. We've retrained our event coordinators to become event producers online. And now we have a range of online event offerings, from live streaming events and hybrid events to fully remote presentation events where clients can run their entire events from the comfort and safety of their homes. And we've really had a phenomenal response from clients to the virtual conferencing solutions. And this development can really provide a financial lifeline to organizations which rely on the events to generate revenue from their events. And now we're in a position where one part of our complex can be used to serve our community and fight the pandemic in the form of a temporary field hospital, which will be constructed at the Durban Exhibition Center. And another part of our complex on the convention center side is being utilized to offer our virtual event offerings, and where our clients can still run their events and generate revenue from them. So I'm really proud about the fact that our team chose to respond to the difficulties as opportunities and not just accept it as just a major challenge.
That is remarkable, absolutely remarkable. I mean, serving the community at large, the greater province, and trying to serve your clients at the same time. I mean, that's truly, truly multitasking there. Now, Scott, tell me, how have clients reacted to you using part of the venue as a field hospital?
Yeah, I think, initially we had some reservations around it, but as we started seeing that, this wasn't something that was going to be specific to us. This was something that was going to be affecting the entire world. We'd already seen it happening as an international practice in New York and in the best convention centers around the world. We saw it happening in Vienna. Um, and we really had to just take our kind of selfish motives and put them one side, and then really just say, how can we do what we can to assist for the greater good, and really, I think the clients are going to have the same sort of feeling after that. The other good news around this is once we get through this whole thing, our plans to refurbish that entire exhibition center will then be followed directly after that, and then so once that hospital is decommissioned, the next what you'll hear about is then the relaunch of the completely refurbished Durban Exhibition Center, and I think that's what clients can look forward to after that.
Absolutely, because the exhibition center's been there for a very long time. It has a legacy in its own, and to see it being refurbished, I mean, you've done a lot to it already over the past few years, but to see that come through would be great. And any idea how long it will be used as a field hospital, Scott?
Projeni, it's really anyone's guess. It's a significant investment by the Department of Health, so it's not something that they'll do for a short period of time. And it really is going to be dependent on how long the pandemic is with us and how long they need the additional beds within the province of KZN.
So,
and the real surge, and that's all done.
Now, what steps are you taking? So going forward, I mean, you've got the field hospital across the road, right? What steps are you taking then to create a safe environment for the show organizers and their attendees that will, I mean, we said the field hospital, that will be refurbished once that's over. But on the ICC side, there will be events that might kick into place, and we're hoping for the reopening of our industry in some way so that we can start having meetings in a safe environment. If that happens, I mean, they're saying 50 at this point in time, and we hope that they will extend the numbers. What have you guys decided to do from your side, ways in which you can create a safe environment to assist organizers and their attendees?
Projeni, obviously the health and safety of our guests and our delegates is our top priority. And as a matter of practice, the Durban ICC ensures the optimum hygiene standards to promote and maintain a safe and healthy space for all our visitors. We've implemented all the World Health Organization's protocols for hosting meetings. So these include providing the touch-free alcohol-based hand sanitizers at all our entrances, as well as at stations throughout the center. All of our seating plans have been amended to provide the appropriate social distancing for every delegate in each meeting style. A COVID-19 health and safety briefing is given at the start of each event. All delegates and staff are required to wear face masks for the duration of the events. Temperature readings are taken for all staff, visitors, and delegates upon arrival. All delegates are asked to complete a health questionnaire upon arrival for the screening. These records are kept for a minimum of 1 month after the event for traceability purposes. All high-touch surfaces such as door handles, escalator rails are sanitized regularly throughout the center. We've also taken additional precautions in our kitchens, such as a buzzer, which sounds every 30 minutes, which prompts our chefs to wash their hands, mop the floors, sanitize the working surfaces. We've brought in ultraviolet light air sanitizers, which are used to neutralize the microorganisms and sterilize the knives in our culinary departments. So anything and everything that we can think of or that's been recommended by the WHO, we've implemented at the Durban ICC.
That is truly remarkable. So you've been really, really busy behind the scenes here. I mean, just trying to think, I mean, it's such a big venue, and trying to think of every touch point, going through that journey, the customer journey, I suppose, helps you get the data in terms of where those touch points are and where you need to provide the safety precautions. Now, thinking about an organizer's perspective, Scott, what advice would you give to other venue operators in terms of partnering with organizers to bring the events back to life? I mean, we've been fighting this cause from the time this opened. as from at the time all of this began, to be for us to be able to restart the industry so that we can still have that ecosystem supporting us when we do come live again. But it's still a struggle. I mean, even if they say exhibitions are going to be open, it'll be interesting to see who's going to be getting on first. What kind of support do you think you could provide organizers with to enable them to get going quicker?
Yeah, I think you must be commended for the work that you've done at that level, just lobbying on our behalf for the industry and for this progress that has been made already. I really think you must be commended for that, and the work that I know is ongoing to see that we can continue to make strides in that area. So we do thank you for that. You know, and from our side, I think the industry needs to work more closely together than ever before. And I think you said it well. The word really is partnering. You know, we need to work closely together to make sure that our product offerings are world class. When we get back up to full steam, we need to make sure that our guests and our delegates feel safe, and that what we have to offer is really offering excellent value for money. I think at the same time, we need to be increasing our marketing efforts to stimulate the demand for our services out there in the market. On a practical level, in preparing for our sector to get up and running again at full steam, I think we need to have our meeting plans in place based on international best practice. You know, we've had the benefit of organizations like ICA and AIPC and UFI coming together during the crisis and sharing their knowledge as well. Some excellent resources have been developed as a result. I think of documents such as the Good Practice Guide, addressing COVID-19 requirements for reopening business events. These are documents that venues should be reading. They should be appropriating this information in their own specific context and developing their own reopening plans accordingly. These are the things that I believe will instill confidence in our clients and will garner that trust in the sector once again, and will ultimately accelerate the rebuilding process and get the industry back up to full steam again.
Yeah, absolutely. Scott, in terms of obviously all these new guidelines, I mean, a lot of the times the new guidelines are saying we need more space, right? Because we now have to reformulate our floor plans, more space, the number of people per square meter, that kind of thing that is being asked of us. And that means probably an exhibition that took 2,000 square meters is now going to need 4,000 square meters, if not more. How will the venue start accommodating those kind of inclusions going forward?
Yeah, it is something which we have to unfortunately just take on board, and I think you've got to take a view of it as being something which has got people's safety at its heart. And so, you know, we've redrawn all of our floor plans, and we've said, you know, we're accommodating that social distancing in it. And unfortunately, it does have a knock-on effect in terms of just utilizing more space. And it means we're not going to be able to accommodate the same number of events as we could have previously at the same time. And maybe that's something we're going to just have to live with for a while until a long-term solution to the virus is found. But I think it's something that if we keep in mind that people's safety and people's health is of utmost importance, I think it's something that us as venues, clients, organizers, everybody just has to take on board that there's nothing more important than that, because nobody wants to compromise on the health and safety of the attendees of an event, and nobody wants to land up in the media of being for the wrong reasons, for having an incident or an outbreak at one of their events. And so we can provide that guidance in terms of having the floor plans to say, you know, an event of X number of people in this kind of seating style, we can accommodate it in so many venues. And then it really is just about having the collaboration from all of the event partners in sticking to that plan.
Absolutely. So besides from a square meter perspective, in terms of doubling the space, how else do you think that, you know, convention centers will change in terms of the way trade shows will look in the future? What other considerations do you think will stay for a few years, if not forever?
Yeah. I think arising from this period, I think we've seen people embracing new ways of meeting and connecting and sharing information. I mean, right now we're connecting through a screen,
Yeah.
which isn't first prize, but it's a way of doing it. And I don't believe technology will ever replace the need for face-to-face interactions. I think people always want to get together for events, and people always want to look someone in the eye, shake them by the hand, or give each other a hug. Um, and and I don't think that the virtual technology, as much as we're excited about it, I don't think it offers the same experience. Um, I do believe there's an opportunity that's arising for the industry that we can take advantage of in the post-COVID-19 era. And I think it'll play a role in events going forward in the new normal. And we might just have to accept new standards of heightened health and hygiene in the venues, just like we accepted higher levels of security screening in airports after 9/11. I think venues like convention centers will adopt these as minimum standards to promote a health and safety, a healthy space for our staff and our delegates. We may likely see temperature scanners and those kinds of things becoming standard equipment at our venues for a long time afterwards in an effort to build visitor trust within our sector. We'll probably see those event configurations and social distancing staying a part of the way that we do business for a long time. But really, I think the things that we have to just accept is that if health and safety is what our primary concern is, we need to live with that for a while. But the reality is that that those things are never going to be a replacement for people getting together. And if anything, what I'm seeing is a real desire emerging from people. When you say you can't travel and you can't get together, it emerges, it brings out in us that real desire to get together and to travel. And I'm really hoping to see a real resurgence in travel and tourism, when those restrictions come down. And I'm really hoping to see the industry bounce back in a big way once we're allowed to do that.
Absolutely. And speaking of that, I'm sure on a personal note as well, I mean, we're such social beings, right? And we, just being in the industry that we are such social beings, and we believe in that, like you said, the importance of interaction, shaking somebody's hand, looking them in the eye. And being those kind of people, I think it affects our personal lives as well. So whilst you're so busy doing, how have you taken care of yourself personally? How has this affected you on a personal note?
Well, it's really not easy. And certainly at the outset of the lockdown, I really battled with just looking after, trying to get some sort of normality. But I'm trying to get better at it the longer this thing lasts. I think what I'm trying to get right is to try and stick to a routine. I try to stick to normal working hours as best as possible, because I find that that's kind of gone out the window. So I try and get to work at normal working hours, and I try and then stop work at a normal time every day. I'm trying to stick to my exercise schedule, and I try to eat properly again. And I think it's important also just to take some time for yourself every day. Take some time. For me, I like to take some time just for some scripture reading and contemplation and some journaling. I think that's really helped me maintain a little bit of personal well-being. And I find that in the weeks that I'm doing that more regularly, I find I'm a lot more balanced and a lot more on the well-being path. So yeah, that helps.
I'm sure that is so necessary at this point in time. I think we're so busy doing, we've been consumed by work. There's no start time and end time to our days now that we're working online, like you're saying, and finding that balance like you have is really, really important. And it helps you do what you do best. It helps you look after yourself and do your job the best that you can. And I think that's important. Scott, on another note, now, what advice would you have for other leaders in our industry and other people in our industry? How do you think, what advice can you give them at this point in time? What is the best way forward?
I think we've been working in really extremely disrupted times. I think none of us would imagine we'd be facing these kinds of challenges. I try to find the positive. I'm amazed at how the global industry has really come together and how we've supported each other. I have no doubt that by working together, the industry is set to make a full recovery. I think we've learned a lot, and the pandemic has forced us to review how we do our business. But I believe that we're emerging stronger and more innovative than we were before. So the advice I would give is really let us stay positive and let us all try and find the opportunities in the difficulties that we're presented with now.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more with you there, for looking for the opportunities. And that's, I think, what crisis presents us with. You can either let it get you down and let it be the end of the world, or you can see the opportunity within. And sometimes, I'm sure, as in any crisis, it is very, very difficult to find that ray of light. But with people like yourself and other leaders in our industry, we're very fortunate to be blessed with people like all of you that are able to support us and share and collaborate and, like you say, partner with us. So Scott, thank you so much for joining us in our Agile Leadership series. We really appreciate having you on board, and I think your words of wisdom is going to be an extreme inspiration and support and learning for many other leaders in our industry.
Thank you, Projeni, and thank you for the good work that you're doing for our industry. Keep up the good work.
Thank you for your time and insights into business at the Durban International Convention Centre, Scott. And to those of you who've been listening in, thank you for joining us. We appreciate your support to the industry. Be sure to catch the rest of our Agile Leadership series in the weeks to come, as we will be interviewing many more leaders who will be sure to inspire, support, and assist you in the journey ahead. I'm Projeni Pather, Chairperson of AXO. Thanks for joining.